Hello, we're going to discuss 2.3 linear functions and slope. We will talk about how to calculate a line slope, write the point slope form of an equation, how to write and graph a slope intercept form, graph horizontal and vertical lines, recognize and use the general form of a line's equation, use intercepts to graph the general form of a line's equation, and we're going to do an application problem. So first let's talk about the calculation of a slope. The slope of a line through 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, is given by the formula y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. It's the rise over the run. x2 minus x1 cannot be equal to 0. You cannot have 0 in the denominator. So if you were to picture this, you have 2 points, and you have a line going through the points. This is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. Alright, and then you use these 2 points and it will tell you the slant of the line. So let's go through an example. We're going to find the slope of a line passing through the points 4, -2 and -1, 5. So it doesn't matter which one you let be x1, y1 or x2, y2, as long as you keep the 1's together and the 2's together. So let's go ahead and plug our numbers into our slope formula. So this will be 5 minus a -2 all over -1 minus 4. A negative in front of a negative makes this a +2, so 5 plus 2 is 7. At the bottom you have -1 minus 4, which is -5. So slope is denoted by the letter M, so your answer would be -7 over 5. Alright, let's do another one. This time the line is passing through the points 4, 5 and 1, 2. This time I'm going to let this first set of points be x2, y2 and the second set of points be x1, y1. So now we're going to plug everything back into our slope equation. We get 5 minus 2 all over 4 minus 1. You get 3 over 3, which is 1. Okay, so your slope is 1. Okay, this next problem is a U-try problem. You can try it on your own. The answer is -2/3. So now we're going to talk about how to write the point slope form of an equation. The point slope form of an equation is a non-vertical line with the slope m that passes through the point x1, y1. So the equation is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Then you have the slope-intercept form, which is written in the form of y is equal to mx plus b. So basically what you can do is you can rewrite this equation by solving for y to get this equation. And that's what we're going to do in these problems. So we're going to write an equation in point slope form for the line with slope 6 that passes through the point 2, -5. Then we're going to use the point slope form to write it in slope intercept form. So let's write out the information they gave us. They told us that m is 6, and they told us that the point is 2, -5. This is a y. Alright, so we're going to plug everything back into the point slope form. This will be y minus a -5 equal to 6 times x minus 2. We know a negative in front of a negative is a positive. Okay, so this is my point slope form. Point slope. So now what we're going to do is solve for y to get the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to multiply this out over here on the right. We get 6x minus 12. And then we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. I get 6x minus 17. So this is the slope-intercept form. So when you do your My Math Lab um, it may ask you to write it in a specific way. So it may ask you to do it in point slope form, or then they tell you to write it in slope intercept form. Right, let's do another one. This line goes through the slope negative, sorry, has a slope of -1/2 and goes to the point 4, 1. So this will be my x1, y1. So let's plug everything back in. This will be y minus 1 is equal to -1/2 times x minus 4. Okay, this is point slope. So now we're going to go ahead and solve for y. We're going to go ahead and multiply out this right half. A negative half, or half of 4, is 2. And this is going to be a positive 2. Negative half of -4 is a positive 2. And you can multiply that out on your own. We're going to add 1 to both sides. I get y is equal to -1/2 x plus 3. This is slope intercept. The next problem is a U-try problem. I'll give you both answers. That's point slope. This is slope intercept. All right. So now let's talk about how to graph. We're going to write and graph the slope-intercept form of an equation, of the equation of a line. So the first step to do is you're going to plot the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 0b. Then to get to your second point, you're going to use the slope, m. You're going to write m as a fraction. So for example, if it's not already a fraction, you can make it into a fraction. So if you have 2, that's the same as 2 over 1, which is a fraction. And then you're going to rise and run over to your next point. Okay? And then you go ahead and draw your line through the 2 points. If your slope is positive, then your graph is going to point upwards. If your slope is negative, your graph is going to point downwards. So that's a hint. Alright, so let's go ahead and figure out the information that we have from this graph. So y is equal to mx plus b. Remember, m is the slope. B is your y-intercept, and it's in the form of 0b. So in this problem, it looks like your slope is 3/5, 3 over 5. And then your y-intercept is 0, 1. So we're going to plot the point 0, 1, which will be a point here. And then we are going to rise and run to our next point. Okay. So we're going to rise 3. We're going to rise 3 and then go to the right 5. Okay, so this is up 3 to the right 5. Alright, so let's start from 0, 1, go up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get this point here. This point looks like it's 5, 4. This is the point 5, 4. I'll put it on here. Okay. So you can graph your line through those 2 points. Another thing that you can do is you can have -3 over -5. That's the same as +3 over 5. A negative over a negative is a positive. So when you have a negative, you go down and then to the left. So what you can do is, instead of going up and to the right, we can start from the y-intercept and go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and that would be the point -5, -2. So now you can go ahead and, like I said, I'm not very good at drawing on this because I'm drawing freehand. trying to get it to go through that point. There you go. My little crooked line. So that's the graph. All right. Another example, y is equal to 3x minus 7. The y-intercept in this case is 0, -7. And then your slope, which is your rise over your run, would be 3 over 1. Okay, so you can go up 1 to the right, sorry, up 3 to the right 1. So let's go ahead and graph this point. We're going to graph 0, -7, which is down here. From there, we're going to go up 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. And then you can keep going. 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. So technically, you only need 2 points to draw a line. But in this, I just like to keep going so I can get a feel of what the line really looks like instead of using 2 points. So anyway, that's my graph. It looks horrible. All right. And let's do another one. This is a U-try problem. The y-intercept is 0, -2. And then the slope is -2 over 3. Now, you can do this several ways, a couple ways. Since the negative is right in front of the fraction, you can put the negative sign at the top, or you can put the negative sign at the bottom. That's still equal to this. Here I have the negative sign in front, but you can put it at the top or you can put it at the bottom. So here you can go down 2 and then to the right 3, or you can go up 2 and to the left 3. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw this one. We're going to plot 0, -2, which is a point here. We can go down 2 and then over 3. We'll have a point here. Or you can go up 2 and then over 3. You have a point here. So whatever the case, the points fall into a straight line. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is how to find the intercepts. How to graph vertical and horizontal lines. A horizontal line is given by the equation y is equal to b, and b is the y-intercept on the line. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. Okay? A vertical line is an equation in the form of x equal to a. The slope of a vertical line is undefined. If you put 0 for the slope, it would be marked incorrect because it's not 0, it's undefined. And the reason why it's undefined is, for example, you cannot have 0 in the denominator. Anytime you have 0 in the denominator of a fraction, it's undefined. So here you can have 0 up here, and that would be 0, but you cannot have 0 in the denominator. So that's why it's undefined. So let's look at this first equation. We have y is equal to 3. Now, a lot of students get confused and just think that they just need to plot the point 3, which is not correct. What you have to do is you have to draw a series, make a series of points and then draw straight across. So whatever number you pick for x, your y will always be 3. Okay, so you can pick -2, 0, and 2. Alright, so you go -2, 3, you have a point here. You have 0, 3, it's a point here. And then you have 2, 3, which is a point here. And as you can see, our graph, the points all fall in a straight line horizontally. Goes straight across. Alright, so for this next one, we have x is equal to -2. No matter what number you put in for y, x will always be -2. So you can plug in -2, 0, you can plug in 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot these points. Negative 2 is here. Negative 2, 0 is here. And negative 2, 2 is here. As you can see, it falls in a straight line up and down. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the general form of the equation of a line. The general form is ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. A and b are real numbers. And you can rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form to retrieve information. So we're going to find the slope and y-intercept of this line. 3x plus 6y minus 12 is equal to 0. Well, it's kind of hard to figure out what the slope and y-intercept would be based on this form. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve for y. We're going to write it in slope-intercept form. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 3x from both. No, that's not what I want to do. I'm sorry. I wanted to I wanted to add 12 to both sides. I was looking at something else. You add 12 to both sides, you get 3x plus 6y is equal to 12. Now I want to subtract off 3x from both sides. I get 6y is equal to negative 3x plus 12. And then divide everything by 6. So don't forget to reduce your fractions. Negative 3 over 6 reduces to negative 1/2. And then 12 over 6 reduces to 2. And now it's much easier to figure out what the slope and y-intercept are. The slope is negative 1/2 and your y-intercept is 2. Now on your My Math Lab, they made technically the y-intercept is a point, so it's a xy point. But in My Math Lab, they may just tell you the slope, the y-intercept is 2. Technically that's incorrect, but that's how My Math Lab does it. But because it should be a point, it should be 0, 2. But if you just put down y is equal to 2, then that's what My Math Lab will accept. Alright, the next problem is a U-try problem. I will go ahead and write it out. And then the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 0, negative 5 over 2. So you can go ahead and work on that on your own. So now we're going to talk about how to use intercepts to graph ax plus by plus c equal to 0. Okay? So we're not going to rewrite this into any form. What we're going to do is we're just going to plug in numbers for x and for y and then solve for the other variable and then get our intercepts. So to find the x-intercept, we're going to set y equal to 0 and solve for x. And then to get the y-intercept, we're going to let x be 0 and solve for y. Okay, so let's look at this first one. We're going to set y equal to 0 to figure out the x-intercept. So this will be 4x minus 5 times 0 plus 20 is equal to 0. This gives me 4x plus 20 equal to 0. Subtract 20 from both sides. I get 4x is equal to negative 20. To get x by itself, divide everything by 4. I get x is equal to negative 5. So my x-intercept is the point negative 5, 0. To find the y-intercept, I'm going to set x equal to 0. This will be 4 times 0 minus 5y plus 20 equal to 0. That gives me negative 5y plus 20 equal to 0. Subtract 20 from both sides. I get negative 5y is equal to negative 20. Divide everything by negative 5. Y is 4. So my y-intercept is the point 0, 4. So I know I did that kind of fast, but this is a recording, so you can always stop and play it back. Alright, so let's go ahead and graph this. The first point is negative 5, 0, which is a point here. And then the next point is 0, 4, which is a point here. Points fall in a straight line. Go ahead and draw your graph. Alright, the next one is a U-try problem. I'll go ahead and work this out. We're going to do the x-intercept. We're going to set y equal to 0. Oops, set y equal to 0, sorry. We end up with 3x minus 6 is equal to 0. Add 6 to both sides. Divide everything by 3. X is 2. So your x-intercept is 2, 0. To do the y-intercept, you set x equal to 0. We end up with negative 2y minus 6 is equal to 0. Add 6 to both sides. Divide everything by negative 2. Y is negative 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot those 2 points. We get 2, 0, and 0, negative 3. All right. So the last problem is a application problem. We're going to use these 2 points to obtain a linear function that models average global temperatures, f of x, for atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration of x parts per million. We're going to round m to 3 decimals and b to 1 decimal. All right. So they gave us these 2 points. We're going to use these 2 points to figure out our slope. So the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we get 57.64 minus 57.04 all over 354 minus 317. That ends up being 0.6 over 37. When you type it into your calculator, you should get 0.016. I think it's 0.01642 something. But we're going to round it to 3 decimal places. So it's 0.016. So that's our slope. So now I'm going to use the point slope form to figure out my equation. Now it doesn't matter which point you pick for your x and your y. So I mean, even though it says y1 and x1 in the formula, you don't necessarily have to pick those, but you can pick the 354 and the 57.64. So I'm going to use those. So you get y minus 57.64 is equal to 0.016 times x minus 354. Let's go ahead and multiply out this right side. When I multiply it out, I get negative over here, negative 5.664. Now I'm going to add 57.64 to both sides. I get y is equal to 0.016x plus 51.976. It did say round to 1 decimal place for the b, for the y-intercept. So I'm just going to round this to 52.0. Okay, so the function 0.016x plus 52 models average global temperature for atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration of x parts per million. All right, that's the end of this lecture.